Welcome to the Coaches Show. I'm here with head coach and district athletic director of Dublin High School, Roger Holmes. Coach, beautiful 65-degree weather. We're finally getting back to some football weather
out here. I need my jacket on this morning.
Beautiful setting back here behind us at the Shamrock Bowl. Hopefully we get some football this week. You got a makeup game. We know we got coming. Bad weather potentially again this weekend, and it kind of reminds me of several years ago during the COVID years when we played maybe 3 football games in a week, So what we want to talk about today, I think, and a lot of folks want to know about is, kind of what played into last week's cancellation of the football game Friday night. It's not that you get a phone call at 12 o'clock on Friday and a post shows up on Facebook that the game's canceled. A lot more goes into it than that. I'm sure there were phone calls, probably texts between you and the other coach and Coach Hicks and administration, and kind of tell us kind of what leads into those kind of things. GHSA probably gets involved.
Well, Thursday, about 8:20 that morning, we got an email. Everybody across the state got an email from the Georgia High School Association, Jay Russell, explaining obviously that the potential of bad weather coming in for the weekend, and just a reminder that all schools are required to finish their games. Finish could mean the score was out of hand when it got stopped, and the other team can say, "Hey, we're done with it," or whatever. But you're supposed to have a contingency plan, and the contingency plan said, or the email itself said, make sure you have a plan before you leave the stadium on Friday night. So
this could affect your rankings
at the end, and all that.
You got to finish, right?
All games, whether it's a 7A game or whatever, because opponents versus opponents and all that type of stuff figure in. So you got to get the games in, and at that time we went in ourselves and pulled up the weather. And again, this was about Thursday morning,
early,
9 o'clock, and said there was an 80% chance of thunderstorms from anywhere from 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock on Friday. When you went to Saturday, it said Saturday morning there was a window of time where there wasn't anything necessarily predicted. And then Saturday evening, it was supposed to be, again, 80% chance, scattered thunderstorms and stuff throughout this area.
So you're thinking about, do you play Friday? Can you play Saturday? Do you want to play Saturday?
Right.
And everybody's got to be in agreement of that, I'm assuming.
Right. To a degree, yes, but the home team has the ability to make a decision prior to the start of a game. Once the game starts, it becomes the decision of the officials as to whether you complete or not. So anyway, one of my assistant coaches, his son-in-law, works for Georgia Power, and he picked up the phone and called them, and Georgia Power was concerned enough about the weather that they had all of their linemen on call for the entire weekend.
Wow.
At which time I picked up the phone and I called Coach Hicks, said, hey, did you get the email from Georgia High School? They're talking about the bad weather situations, and I just checking in advance, what are y'all's thoughts, what are your plans, what do you want to do? And he said, well, I can tell you this, I don't want to play on Saturday. They got caught in that the week before, where you went over, you prepared, you kicked off, you
play 20 minutes and wait 2 hours.
15 minutes and you wait 2 hours, and then you got to turn around, try to come back on Saturday, and then again you had the same forecast for Saturday night. If you don't get it in, then what do? So both of us, because the way our region schedule is set up, had September the 12th. Both of us had an open date there. I'm sure that on their end, they're concerned about this could possibly be their largest gate of the year. So from a financial standpoint, you start the game lightning comes in. You get about 2 hours of rain delays after you've played for 30 minutes. You go sit in a locker room for 2 hours, try to come back and finish. Half, 3/4 of your crowd. They might have paid to get in, but now they've gone home. You've lost the atmosphere.
Lost your
and all
concessions too.
that. Yeah, and so at the end of the day, it was, Coach Hicks said, hey, let me talk with my principal, see what he thinks. I'll call you back in about 10 minutes. In about 5 minutes, he called back. He says, Coach, if it looks like we can't play, let's just move it to the 12th. And I said, hey, I'm fine with that. He was, and he said, all right. He said, I'll make a decision early tomorrow. I should be able to reach out to you by noon with our decision. I called back about 12:45 on Friday. Said, Coach, we want to move it to the 12th. And I said, well, my comment, are you sure? Because right now the weather's saying rain, but no thunderstorms.
Yeah, I've seen you win a state championship in the rain. You'll play in the rain.
Well, it's not a problem playing in the rain, and it might have been to our advantage the way they throw the football around.
Absolutely.
To play in the rain, and he said, no, we want to move it to the 12th. And I said, hey, I'm fine with that, but don't, I said, if this is final, it's final.
Yeah.
Let's don't call back in an hour if the weather gets a little bit better, because we've got to put the word out and figure out how we're going to handle it on our end. And he said, no, Coach, we want to play on the 12th. And that was the agreement, and that's where it was set. The hardest thing to do as a coach in all the years is determine those situations. You're not a weatherman. You can't predict. All you can do is plan. And I respect, their decision 100%. And I don't know, it may have been a good situation for us. We had several kids banged up.
Got some nicks and some bumps and some bruises, probably from the week before, maybe.
It's we'll get the game in. The rival game will get played on the 12th. Now, who knows? It might be raining, thunderstorming then, but there's not many options. Right. After that. But we had a good option, and I respect their decision to move the game, although, again, trying to guess what the weather's going to do. Most everybody got theirs in. There were probably 15 or 20 games across the state that ended up getting canceled or postponed to a later date. But that one's behind us now, and we get ready to move on.
Right, we do, and I think we've got a JV game with East Lawrence this week.
Yeah, we've got them on Thursday, and they'll be here. Game time is at 5:30. Look forward. Yeah, it'll be Go Fan tickets only, but we look forward to getting our JV kids back out there. They played last week. Lightning got them on Thursday. They played a half, and we were ahead 12-0 at Bleckley County. And the decision was made by Bleckley County at that point. They were behind. Hey, it's a JV game. Let's don't wait around here, because really what happens is the minute they take you off the field for Lightning, you have to wait a minimum of 30 minutes. Well, every time there is a strike of lightning within that boundary that you use to determine whether you come off the field, the clock restarts at 0 and goes another 30 minutes. So you could wait 25 minutes and another bolt of lightning be within your safe zone.
Boom.
Start back for 30 minutes.
Right.
And so those are the tough things. And again, I hope Georgia High School takes a good look at pushing this schedule back. You've got 2 open dates during the regular season. You've got that open date now between the end of the regular season and when playoffs start. So there's 3 weeks there you're not playing. And how many times do you see the Lightning situation once you get into September and October? It's all of these games that are played in August, the scrimmage games and those type things, that those late evening, afternoon thunderstorms roll in, and that's what causes a lot of that conflict.
Right. Well, in the state of Georgia, pretty decent sized state, humidity. This time of year, August, it seems like it always happens. There's always something. You're never going to be able to do anything with Mother Nature. but sometimes scheduling or rescheduling, in the future can help things. I think, Coach, we'll take a break and have a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back and we'll talk about Southwest Patriots.
Optum Health System's commitment to you has not changed. Unmatched safety and compassionate care. If you've delayed your care, we want to reassure you we're prepared for you. Optum's commitment to safe, high-quality care is stronger than ever.
It is almost hunting season, and that means it's time for you to already be shopping with Roach Farm and Garden. Everything you need for your feed plots, everything you need for your deer stands, everything you need, period, for the fall, you can get at Roach Farm and Garden. Salt licks, camo, trail cams, everything you need. Go check them out at Roach Farm and Garden at the River Bridge. Support your friends at Roach Farm and Garden as they support the Dublin Fighting Irish and our local community. Go Irish, and go to Roach Farm and Garden.
When you're part of a team, your loyalty is to each other, working together for the customer. Customer satisfaction is not a sometime thing, it's an all-time thing.
Turn it up, let's go, yes, sir.
You don't service vehicles right once in a while, you service them right all the time. So let's get out there and get these customers rolling. We love helping our customers as much as we love football. So let us be your team, Bubba's Tire Center.
It's football season, and just like your favorite team, Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan's success is built on our teamwork.
Here, Mr. Jones, here's your tune-up parts. Thank you.
Chevy or GMC, we've got your trucks.
I might not have been a great ball player back in the day, but one thing about it, Don sells cars pretty good here at Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan.
The best in high school sports coverage in the state of Georgia is known by one name, the GSHA All Access. Tune in right here weekly to stay current with player profiles, coaches' conversations, and what's happening in GHSA sports. The GHSA All Access. Right here. Presented by Powers Media Network.
Optum Health System's commitment to you has not changed. Unmatched safety and compassionate care. If you've delayed your care, we want to reassure you we're prepared for you. Optum's commitment to safe, high-quality care is stronger than ever.
Coach, we're back. We got the Southwest Patriots, that high-flying offense. They've got multiple quarterbacks, multiple receivers out there, really, really big linemen coming in here to the Shamrock Bowl Friday night for a game. And I think a lot of folks watched the game between them and Northeast on NHFS Network last week. I know I caught some of it and had a pretty big melee at the end of the game involving his coach's son, quarterback, got hit pretty high with looked like maybe a potential targeting type thing, and I think the bench is cleared after that.
They did, and I was at that game where ours was canceled. Several of our coaches were at that game trying to get a look at the upcoming opponent, and it was a situation that I guess Georgia High School right now has probably made their decision as to what it's going to be. We have had no contacts with Southwest in regard. The game's going to be played.
Right.
You know, some people are saying, well, are they going to make them forfeit the next game, so on and so forth? That's not going to happen.
That's not how it works.
I think we would have already been notified if it would have been some type of situation like that. I'm sure, looking at the film myself, there's probably 4 or 5 players from Southwest that aren't going to skate through The incident.
I mean, every referee out there had a flag or two flags throwing.
Yeah,
you know?
it was that way, and I'm sure Northeast has probably got 2 or 3 young men that probably are going to have to sit out this week.
The big rival game between those two, though. I mean, it's a heated
rival, and both of them have a lot of pride about their programs. Northeast, I think, played for the football, or I know played for the football state championship last year, and I'm pretty sure Southwest played for it in basketball.
Right.
So both of those schools, you know, when you get together, crosstown rival, no different than us in the East, and you know, that type of setting, there's going to be a lot of talking. There's going to be a lot of extracurricular stuff that really needs to go away. You know, at the end of the day,
play your game.
It's play the game, knock your opponent on his butt, help him up, and go back and try to do it again on the next play. But, you know, when you look at Southwest, I think, number one, it starts with Joe Dupree, their head football coach. He does a good job. I've had a couple of close friends of mine tell me that Joe Dupree was as good a high school quarterback as this area has had. Went on and played some Division I quarterback at the next level. Well, his son, as a sophomore, threw for over 3,000 yards. Went into last season, hurt a thumb a little bit prior to the season starting, and I think Chase is his name. Chase was listed as one of the top 2 or 3 guard prospects in the junior class in basketball in the state of Georgia.
Wow.
So I think he took last year and focused in on his basketball, and I saw a thing this weekend where he took his official visit, had been offered by Southeast Missouri State in basketball. But he's in now and he's playing quarterback. But
senior?
He's a senior, and there's 2 more quarterbacks. One wears number 10, one wears 12. Actually, there's 3 more, and the third guy that, other than Chase, that have got reps, wears number 0. It doesn't look like they change anything they do offensively. It's just probably
differently.
Chase has a little bit more of that game savvy.
Coach's son.
And a little bit more of a threat when he pulls it down, scrambles, his pocket presence, keeping his eyes up, and those type things are really, really impressive. Their running back, number 6, jumped out at me in the scrimmage, seeing him live and in person. He's got a lot of speed. When they run inside zone counters and things, he has the speed to bounce it to the edge and outrun you. When you go to their wideout crew, number 7 for them, he's had more targets than any receiver they've got on the field. He's a good-looking guy. Their big play threat for our fans, he's a Steve Linton.
Oh, really?
He plays some wide receiver. He plays defensive end. He plays a little bit of tight end. He's committed to Rutgers as a defensive end. He's about 6'4", about 220, and can run. So he plays out on the perimeter for them on offense. Has made several nice catches. Number 1, a DB, wide receiver, certainly a threat. So in the skill positions, they have all the necessary parts to make the offense very, very dangerous. Their offensive line,
I'm sure always big guys.
Well, they're not huge, but they're all 230, 240. You know, they're certainly big enough. So from the offensive standpoint, they scare you to death with their athleticism and abilities to play out in the field, which we're going to get faced with that every week in this region. You know, it just goes from one game to the next. It's just pick out which ones are the ones that one play they can break it on you. And, you know, when I go back and I watch last year's film, you know, they put 29 points, 30 points, something like that on the board against us last year. So, as a matter of fact, the score was 12-0 before we ever got the ball at their place last year. So, you know, they're that type of explosive team on offense.
Defensively?
Defensively, I think it starts obviously with number 5 coming off that edge and just running stuff down, quarterback pressures, putting his face on the ball, creating havoc. And that's why the young man's committed to Rutgers, is because of his burst and his length and his athleticism. They're 2 inside linebackers. They run a 4-4 front. Their 2 outside linebackers, again, are downhill guys, run to the ball, cover a lot of space in a hurry. Number 4, an outside linebacker for him, really jumped out to me the other night as a real physical football player. Will come downhill, put his face on you. And, last year against us, they did a lot of slanting and moving with their defensive tackles inside. They moved their front around. We saw about 4 or 5 different looks out of that 8-man front last year. So knowing our assignments, being on our keys, following our rule blocking will be very, very important for us to be able to handle it on that end. And then when you look at the kicking game, I think the thing that jumps out to me that's probably the biggest strength of their kicking game is they've got a really good punter. He's averaging about 35 yards. They've got a good long snapper. You would hope that in some cases, some of those areas in the kicking game you might be able to exploit, but they look very sound in that phase. Their kicker is not very good. Number 5 handles their kicking chores, and I'm not trying to make it sound worse than it is. He's not a kicker. He's just the guy they've got kicking. Right. So you don't really have consistency of knowing where kickoffs are going to go, so you can set up a wall.
You don't know.
His PATs are very erratic, but they just soon go for 2, to be quite honest with you. I think
done it in the past.
That's a big thing for them. They'll line up in the polecat, and they've got several options off of that, and then they don't mind lining up and just putting the ball on the 3-yard line and going for 2 points. So that's a huge part of a game, because a conversion on one of those 2-point things all of a sudden can change all the dynamics of what you have to do as you progress through the game about whether you're going for 1 or 2.
Right. Well, it sounds like they're bringing the same type team that they generally in the past had back in here. Like I said, starting to show off one of these high-flying offenses. Very talented quarterbacks, a lot of good receivers, and and then on the other side of the ball, what I've always said is a mean, nasty defense.
Well, they're aggressive now. They run to the football. I was pleased at this point. We're filming the show during this week with our effort on the practice field. I think the weather cooling down a little bit has helped, but last week was not a week that I was real happy about. Again, we had a lot of kids banged up and injured. You're coming off a tough loss.
And it affects, and we talked earlier, I think it affects, people don't think about it a lot. We're dealing with 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. A lot of times you have a loss. How do you come back and practice Monday? Sometimes you got kids that really want to dig in and work hard, and sometimes you got kids like, oh my goodness, we should have won this game. You don't give the effort, 1 week, and then a week later you have the best practice you've had all year.
Well, I think, the heat was a factor. I think it's probably been a factor for anybody last week in Middle Georgia, but coming off a tough loss, again, not knowing who's even going to be able to be in a uniform. There's a lot of sickness running around.
There is.
In Dublin and the surrounding area right now, with sinus infections and sinus drainage and sore throats and strep throat.
COVID again.
We're kind of running through that through our locker room right now. We did have one young man out yesterday. Doctor held him out for some upper respiratory infection, sinus infection, and this and that, but we expect to have him back.
A player we need.
Yeah, and so we feel like he'll be back and ready to go. But you know, when it starts spreading through your locker room, you get one back today, but you lose another one tomorrow.
Right.
You know, so we'll just have to see how it goes. But you know,
we'll be ready.
Yeah, we're looking for
we'll
our
be ready
crowd to
Friday
get back
night
in the Shamrock Bowl. I think they are calling for a chance of some rain, but as of last night, I mean, I stay on that weather app quite a bit during football season, but it was calling for rain Friday. But by Friday night, it's supposed to be out of here and have a pretty good night, temperature-wise and everything else for some great high school football.
Right. Beautiful out here this morning again, like I said, Coach. Great to be back again, getting back in the football atmosphere. We do want everybody to come out to the Shamrock Bowl Friday night. You know,
doubt.
Come out, all you fans, come out and come. Touchdown Club members, come over to the tailgate. We're going to have a big cookout again starting, I think, at lunchtime Friday. So come enjoy yourself. Spend the afternoon over here. There'll be a lot going on. Tickets will be GoFan only.
Right.
Unless you've got a season ticket. I don't know if you can still buy them at the board office or not. But
oh, yeah, they still have them. And one thing I want to plug here just before we leave, I thought about just a second ago, is college football season cranks up this week.
Yes, it does.
And we've still got multiple Dublin Irish football players continuing their career at the next level, and I just personally want to wish every one of those guys the best of luck and represent Dublin well, represent yourself and your family well, and go Irish.
Right. Go Irish.
Optum Health System's commitment to you has not changed. Unmatched safety and compassionate care. If you've delayed your care, we want to reassure you we're prepared for you. Optum's commitment to safe, high-quality care is stronger than ever.
It is almost hunting season, and that means it's time for you to already be shopping with Roach Farm and Garden. Everything you need for your feed plots, everything you need for your deer stands, everything you need, period, for the fall, you can get at Roach Farm and Garden. Salt licks, camo, trail cams, everything you need. Go check them out at Roach Farm and Garden at the River Bridge. Support your friends at Roach Farm and Garden as they support the Dublin Fighting Irish and our local community. Go Irish and go to Roach Farm and Garden.
When you're part of a team, your loyalty is to each other, working together for the customer. Customer satisfaction is not a sometime thing, it's an all-time thing.
Turn it up, let's go! Yes, sir!
You don't service vehicles right once in a while, you service them right all the time. So let's get out there and get these customers rolling. We love helping our customers as much as we love football, so let us be your team, Bubba's Tire Center.
Woo!
It's football season, and just like your favorite team, Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan's success is built on our teamwork.
Here, Mr. Jones, here's your tune-up parts. Thank you.
Chevy or GMC, we've got your trucks.
I might not have been a great ball player back in the day, but one thing about it, Don sells cars pretty good here at Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan.
The best in high school sports coverage in the state of Georgia is known by one name, the GSHA All Access. Tune in right here weekly to stay current with player profiles, coaches' conversations, and what's happening at GHSA Sports. The GHSA All Access. Right here. Presented by Powers Media Network.
Optum Health System's commitment to you has not changed. Unmatched safety and compassionate care. If you've delayed your care, we want to reassure you we're prepared for you. Optum's commitment to safe, high-quality care is stronger than ever.